on an earlier edition of ABC's Wide World of Sports. Now, in each of those events, as the all-around competition transpired, people also qualified themselves for these individual. The mark that they got then, they bring in here, and this mark is added onto it, their average, and that's the way the champions will be determined. Gold, silver, and bronze medals in each of the women's 4 events. Let's bring in our expert on the sport, Kathy Rigby-Mason. How do you view this one, Kathy?
Well, Jim, as usual, no one country, or gymnast for that matter, totally dominates every apparatus here. However, East Germany's Maxi Genau and from the Soviet Union, Stella Zakharova are the favorites here. Stella, of course, winning the all-around competition earlier. And something very interesting, Romania did not do as well in the all-around competition. However, they do have a chance for some medals here. And I'm talking about Emilia Erbele and Christine Grigoris.
So it's a battle among the Eastern European countries, as we see so often in the sport of gymnastics. In fact, there is no American in the competition. Susie Kellums was here. Unfortunately, she was injured in practice and had to retire. Now, of the 4 events, the vault has already taken place. Let's take a look at it. Stella Zakharova of the Soviet Union was the most impressive winner.
Well, Jim, once again, the power she possesses shows through on this event. Not only sheer strength, but exact timing and coordination during the blocking or pushing off of the horse. Watch again on this handspring front in slow motion. You can get a little better idea of what she's doing. Watch how she blocks that horse or pushes off, good direction in the air, nice twist, and a pretty good landing, a little over the shoulders, but not bad.
9.80 was her mark, and she was the winner. Now we're going to move to the competition on the uneven parallel bars, always one of the most exciting in the women's event. The leader as we go into the final is little Maxi Genau of East Germany. In second place, Steffi Kraker, another East German girl. And in third place, Stella Zakharova of the Soviet Union. Here we go. And the first competitor we'll see is the most appealing one, young Chinese girl, Zheng Zhu, or more properly they pronounce it, Zhu Zheng. Go either way.
They're creative on this apparatus. Tight form, exactly what the judges look for. There you see 2 stalkers, perfect form on those. Vault over the high bar, drop to the low bar. Excellent routine so far, Jim.
Tied for 4th coming to this final.
Front hip circle on the bar, getting ready for a dismount. Now watch how she goes above the bar before she makes that twist.
Boy, that's amazing.
Nice routine.
Chinese really exploded on the gymnastics scene. Youngsters from the People's Republic at the World Championships in Fort Worth in 1979. And they're continuing to move up.
Take a look at the end of her routine. Once again, you'll see in slow motion how high she gets on this dismount. Gets her momentum going here, puts 1 foot on. She'll rise above that bar, which is so important. Completes her twist almost above that bar. Excellent technique.
Charming young lady. But very, very pleasant, as most of the Chinese athletes we've seen are. Here's the mark, 9.70. A good one for Zheng Zhu. Germany coming to the final. She's in second place, just a tenth of a point behind the leader, Maxi Genau, who is yet to come.
Jim, just like her teammate, she has great control on this apparatus. I've yet to see an East German that didn't have control on the uneven parallel bars. Tight body. Straddle onto the high bar now. Now watch this. Soul circle right into a back flip. There's that Corbett back. Half twist to the high bar. No form break. Very, very tight body. So important on this apparatus. Uses those bars. Let the spring work for her.
She looks very tall compared to the other gymnasts. She's just 5'3".
She's a tall one. And her dismount. Front with a pull. Beautiful exercise. She'll receive a high score for that.
Steffi Kraker trying to come from behind and win the gold medal in the uneven parallel bars. 20-year-old schoolgirl from Leipzig, East Germany.
Now this Corbett, as you can obviously see, then it's named after Olga Corbett. She was the first to do it. You have to make sure that their shoulders are directly over that top bar. There's the half twist to the high bar. Timing is so important on these moves. You'll see she'll shoot right up to the ceiling on this dismount. 1 foot on, adds a little extra flair to this particular move. Shoots up, completes the twist above the bar. That's that little extra flair that the judges want.
Steffi, very pleasant girl, too, isn't she?
Very nice. She always a smile for everyone.
9.8, you saw it there. Very good mark. However, Maxi Genau is capable of that or better, and she's yet to come. So, competition continues with Stella Zakharova of the Soviet Union. She's in third place, brings in a mark of 9.7. She would need then a 9.9 to tie Craker for the lead at the moment.
Stella starts with a half twist of the high bar. Tremendous strength on this apparatus. Giant swing, a little break in the leg there. Judges will take off a few cents for that. Vault over the high bar. Really aggressive on this.
She is. She really goes after it, doesn't she?
Yes, she does. Very strong. Full circle on front with a half twist. Little low on that landing. Might break the leg, too.
Stella Zakharova. We're going to have a look at the dismount from a couple of angles here. Let's check that.
Okay. You see, you really have to ride that soul circle, as it's called, as high as possible, because you're spinning 1.5 times around and making a half twist. You've got to bring those shoulders up, otherwise you land with your knees to your nose, and that's not what you want.
No knees to nose,
Right.
Melinda.
Not today. You see, and there you can see her shoot up. She does fairly well. She makes her half twist, but she leaves her shoulders down. See? Her head almost hits that mat.
Well, let's see what sort of mark this daughter of a ballerina has gotten. Stella Zakharova. So we're going to have a conference on her mark. The judges coming from different corners where they've been placed.
Jim, when there's too big a discrepancy between scores, for example, if a judge gives a 9.5, another gives a 9.8, it's too big a spread. They have to come closer, and the head judge calls them together, and each side explains why they gave a certain score. And if the score is too low and she can't explain her score very well, then the head judge will say, you must raise your score, and she has to do that. She has the final say-so in the end.
Well, there's a good friend and colleague of ours. The gentleman on the right is Johnny Esau. He's probably the best-known name in sports television north of the border, among other things, for many years, the Canadian host of Wide World of Sports. Good man. Well, there's why there was a conference, 9.50. She obviously got a big deduction for something. Could you guess what it was?
Well, there's probably a C element, which is the most difficult element missing in her routine, and that will probably cause the deduction.
Okay, she was in second place. Her father was sure he was going to have a son, and he was sure he was going to name him Max. Well, he had a very small daughter. He named her Maxie anyway, and he's a big fan of hers now. She's one of the outstanding gymnasts in the world. In the all-around competition here, which you may have seen earlier on Wide World, she led until the very last event when she was edged out by Zakharova of the Soviet Union. Now, she's in first place in this event. She's the last competitor, and even with a fairly conservative version of her performance, she'll win.
Well, right now, she's chalking up the bars. She wants to make sure that there's enough chalk on there so that she doesn't slip off. Apparently, her hands must sweat an awful lot. She puts, also, you'll see on her hands, or you saw on her hands, she had what's called gauze or hand pads, and this is to help keep the moisture down a little bit.
She started when she was 6 years old. She's 16 now, since she's been at it for 10 years. She's just passed the 5-foot mark, 97 pounds. So it was to high school in East Berlin.
You know, Jim, she is really one to look for on the international scene. She's done very well in the past, and in the future, there's no telling what she can do. As a matter of fact, I think you could compare her to Nadia. Nadia, at a young age, did extremely well, and this one is on her way up, too, and at this point has passed Nadia on this apparatus.
Really? Nadia Comaneci is not here. The story on that is that she is preparing for exams back home. That's what they say.
Free hip circle to a handstand, all the way to another hand. Now watch this. All the way, pulls all the way to a handstand. Very, very difficult. Here's a Stalter. Terrific form. Perfect. Vault over the high bar. You can see why she really is the best.
Looking down the road to the Los Angeles Olympics, she could be a big name. She'll be just 20 then.
Free hip handstand. Another free hip hands on front for the half. You can see excellent routine. Great.
Mighty Max from East Germany. Maxie Ganauf, I think she wrapped up the gold medal in this event. She has that knack of getting the crowd going, too.
Let's take a look at that handstand once again. After she does her mount here, half twist to the high bar. Look at the position. Perfect. Right to the handstand. That's what the judges want to see. No hesitation anywhere. And she really wraps this bar to get all the way up to that handstand again. She wraps it, pulls with those shoulders. Arms are straight, remember, not bent, which makes it even more difficult.
Look at that, 9-9. It's all over as far as this event is concerned. There was little question. Maxi Ganaut, the winner, Craker of East Germany, will be second, and Zhu of China is third. A bronze medal for the People's Republic of China. Fine performance there. But there's the winner, Maxi Ganaut. A good crowd here today, really. This is a big arena. The end zone seats are empty, but everything else just about full. More to come. Look at the balance beam, that slender, dangerous piece of lumber, just 4 inches wide, 4 feet high. The standings as we come to the final, Elena Naimushina of the Soviet Union is the leader, and then a tie for second between Zamanova of Czechoslovakia and Amelia Eberly of Romania. When Elena Naimushina was 7 years old, she watched one night on the TV and saw Olga Korbut at Munich. She said, "I'd like to do that." She's still one of the little ones, 4 feet 10, 75 pounds, but she's a good one, and she leads in this competition.
She opens up with a rather unusual mount. She jumps to a straddle split without the use of her hands. Very easy to jump too far or not enough. Whoops, you can see there, a little bit over. But she won't have too big a deduction there because she didn't fall.
Gets the people's attention, that's for sure.
Well, this young lady has it all. She has flexibility. She has beautiful dance movements. She also has the difficulty. Watch here. She'll do 2 back handsprings, one with one arm and one with the other.
Good.
Right on.
15-year-old Elena Naimushina.
She goes into a back walkover, right into a back handspring, into a layout. Solid there, too. Beautiful toe point. Works high on her toes. So important on this event. Very soft arms. She reminds me an awful lot of Turisheva and Olga Korbut in the style that she uses.
And yet they were different. You see a little combination of the two. Huh?
Right, right. More of Turisheva, actually, in the extended feet, legs, beautiful arm movements. Getting ready for aerial walkover. You see she centers that balance beam right between her shoulders. Both arms should come down together, and then she flips over. Concentration here.
Try to compare it for you. That is just the width of a golf hole. Actually, it's a little narrower, 4 inches to 4 1/4.
Well, working the balance beams like golfing, you're never exactly sure you're going to be on all the time. Double twist dismount. Excellent.
A little more physical danger in the balance beam, I think, however, Kathy. Elena Naimushina trying to hold on to her lead here in the balance beam competition. She certainly did look quite good. Yep, sure. Put on the warm-up jacket, using it around the waist, however.
In the all-around competition, she got one of the highest scores in the entire meet, so it should help her going into this. Let's take a look at that mount again. You'll see that her shoulders were a little bit too far over, and she had to really squeeze with those toes to hold on. Right there.
Covered it up rather nicely,
She
did.
did. She did very well. There won't be more than a tenth of a deduction there. Okay, let's take a look at those feet. You can see that it's difficult. That beam is 4 inches wide, and to get both feet on, many times they have missed the one foot or the other and had to carry through with a twist or a layout of some kind. But it's tough. That beam is only 4 inches wide.
Okay. See what they give her. Yep, 9.8, 9.8. Very good, the same that she had coming into the competition. And both of the marks are average. The first time we saw Maria Filatova of the Soviet Union, she was 15 years old, 4 feet 5 inches tall, and weighed just over 60 pounds. That was at the Montreal Olympics. 4 years later, at age 19, she's grown 4 inches, weighs just under 100 pounds. Kathy talked to her earlier. For time consideration, we have eliminated the translation from English to Russian. Of course, we'll hear it the other way around.
You've been competing in gymnastics a long time. What do you like the most and what do you like the least about it?
Gymnastics is what I love most in life. I can't even imagine living without it. It's the most beautiful and best sport there is.
Marie, in the U.S., I get asked an awful lot if I mind being small. I'm only 5 feet tall, and a lot of young girls come up to me. Do you get asked that question? You're 4'9". Does any young gymnast say, are you going to ever grow, or do you mind being so short?
First of all, there's no reason for children to worry about growing. They eventually do get taller, and I hope I'll get taller, too.
Thanks for taking the time and talking with us. Jim, you're a man of average height. What do you think about that?
I think, Kathy, that I still hope I'm going to grow up someday. Emotionally, if not physically. Here is Maria.
When you watch Maria, you have the feeling that she's been under pressure before. She knows how to concentrate. That doesn't mean she couldn't fall, but she really thinks before she does every single move. Everything to the fullest. Press to a handstand. To a walkover. Look at the extension and tightness of every part. That comes with many, many years of competition experience. Back walkover. To a back handspring, right to a layout. And she's solid.
Very compact young woman, 4 feet 9, just under 100 pounds.
When they do the leaps, they have to be completely extended in a split position in the air. Here's showing flexibility.
Gives very much the manner of a ballerina on the beam, doesn't she?
Well, when you're that small, you have to look long and tall and elegant, and that's what she's trying to do here. Very poetic arms. Aerial walkover, centered right down that beam. You know, in practice, she may do 50 of these a day, over and over again. And then she goes through routines. Here's her dismount now. 2 back handsprings. Double pipe. Great landing, great exercise. Woo! Nice.
Maria Filatova. 4 feet 9 inches of talent and determination.
Take a look again at those back handsprings into the layout. She really must center that balance beam. And you have to do it before you start, because once you start the momentum going backwards, there's no turning back. Here's that back walkover. She's controlling it all the way down, right into a back handspring, into a layout. You can see that hardly any of her body moves except for her legs when she's pushing off. Here's her dismount, 2 back hamstrings. She's right on, double pike, way above that beam. Really has to pull it around in the end. Good height.
There's Maria awaiting the judgment. Well, the judges in the many powwows they've had during this competition. Somebody on the phone there. What
I think it's an interpreter probably talking to her at the time, trying to explain what's going on.
Is this kind of a consequence of all the controversies they had at the Moscow Olympics about judging?
Well, Jim, what I think is happening here is that they have a new rule book out, the 1980 Code of Points. And I really believe that some of the judges are not as well informed as they should be on some of the rules, and so they're kind of talking them out to make sure that what they give is fair. You also have many different countries there, and when they have a gymnast from their country up on the balance beam, then sometimes they push a little bit harder for their girl.
On-the-job training, is that what we're talking about?
On-the-job training, exactly. Also because of the controversy in Moscow.
Excuse me, 9.8. Those who gave her the higher mark won out this time. There is Filatova, pleased about it. Obviously, that moves her into second place behind Namushina. Now, in second place, coming to the final, is this young woman, Radka Zamanova of Czechoslovakia. She's the one that Kathy has indicated previously. Works very well, but not spectacularly, so they tend to undermark her, right?
Exactly. She's not really, doesn't have as much flair as some of the other gymnasts. But as one of the judges from Holland was telling me, she's underrated many times.
Mm-hmm. Brings a mark of 9.7 into the final.
Working quite well. Now, she has an interesting move here, a back handspring over the balance beam. It's important that those shoulders undercut or stay over that balance beam. Otherwise, she would land on the other side of the floor, which, of course, is a 5/10 deduction for any kind of a fall. Aerial walkover. 2 in a row. They'll show acrobatic tumbling combinations, flexibility, dance, all requirements on the beam. Balance movements is shown right here. It's a little nerve-wracking, too, when you're not used to competing in the finals, as she is not in the past as much as some of the other gymnasts. She's moving very well, not hesitating or holding back. When you do hold back, the timing changes on some of the different skills and causes you to fall. Very graceful arms. Double twist dismount.
All right, now a mark of 9.8 would give her sole possession of second place here. But they've been marking pretty tough, pretty tough.
Okay, let's take a look at that aerial walkover. Right over the balance beam. Very well done. Little turn. She is pretty high on her toes there. Could be a little higher. Complete stretch is what they want to see. Here's a balance movement. Legs come together. Not especially difficult, but it does show one of the balance requirements.
Okay, she sure would like to get a medal here. That would be a great showing for her and move her up in reputation in international gymnastics. 9.75 ties her for second place right now with Maria Filatova. It's not over yet, but she's tied for second at the moment.
Emil White, University of Michigan. Heinrich Jekyll, technical
Competition here in the World Cup of Toronto. She had a bad day. Wasn't a factor at all. Whoops, trying to redeem herself here on the balance beam, but that was a bit of a problem.
Well, that was a difficult move for Amelia. It's a front flip, and it does cause her problems at times. One great thing about her, though, whether she's doing well or not, she seems to have nerves of steel. She doesn't hesitate on any of her moves. She goes for everything, and that really is the secret to this apparatus.
Teammate of the great Nadia Comaneci, of course. Nadia not here.
Back walkover right into a back cut, solid as a rock. Another difficult move. You know, Jim, sometimes it's very difficult, especially when you have a lot of meets to go to get up for each one. And this may just be a down meet for Amelia. Here's a round off double pike. Great dismount.
Certainly looked good on the dismount, that's for sure. Amelia Everly of Romania.
On this front flip, your shoulders have to be square, as we've talked about in the past. When you take off, you can see that her shoulder was already off a little bit to the left there. She's holding on to it with her toes. Almost had a 5/10 deduction. That'll cost her about 3/10.
Well, a 9.75 would move her into that tie for second place. We then have a triple tie for second place. Mushin is the leader, remember. 9.60, and that won't do it for Amelia, and she shows it. Again at the Maple Leaf Gardens, Toronto, Canada, at the World Cup Women's Individual Events Championships. They're warming up now for the final competition here, the floor exercises. This is Jim McKay with Kathy Rigby Mason. Well, Kathy, it looks like we have just a minute here. I remember the first time I ever met you. Remember you were working out with your club, the Scats, out there in Southern California, in a tiny gym in the back of a church. But you were all so little, and you were all so young at that time. That made a big impact on me. Of course, that's become a regular thing now.
Yes, they have to start at a young age because of all the elements that they have to learn.
Yeah, and you know that Kurt Thomas earlier this week went out to York University, where a local gymnastics club was working out, and he did some things with the youngsters. But why don't we let Kurt explain?
I had an opportunity to work with some children of different ages on the fundamentals of gymnastics, which are imperative to the progression of their skills.
I don't want to go.
You don't want to be on TV? Okay. You don't have to be. You do? All right, give me a handshake. All right. Hands right on the mat. One of the first skills to learn is the forward roll. The child must squat down, duck his head, and round his back to roll forward. In teaching the cartwheel, I tell the students to picture themselves as a rolling wheel, trying to roll in a straight line.
Okay. When you start on the left, start with your right foot forward, okay? And go. There you go. You want to be back in our group? Okay. Let's try a cartwheel. Don't put that in your mouth. Okay, let's try a cartwheel. There you go. That was good. Good.
As the gymnast becomes more advanced, I then tell them to try to extend the forward roll. In learning the cartwheel, I emphasize the importance of keeping your legs straight and toes pointed throughout the skill.
Okay, right over the top. Push. Okay, good. Push. still hopping a little bit. Girls, after the round-off, you should be in this position, not this position, okay? A lot of you are bending. Try to pull your feet through so that you can get your hands straight back. If you squat, what's going to happen? You're going to be a lot lower to the ground. The round-off is one of the most important skills in tumbling. It is taught by simply adding a quarter turn to the end of a cartwheel. In learning the aerial cartwheel, the gymnast is now getting into the rudiments of tumbling. Step hard with that leg and kick, 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 kick. Okay, as this leg comes down, okay, hold on a second. As this leg comes down, you want this leg, straddle a little bit, to come right in, okay? Over the top, you want that leg to come right in. I then had the opportunity to work with some advanced forms. They were a little stronger, and they had developed to the point where they could now concentrate a little more on their technique. Okay, keep your arms right by your side so you can get them back for the back handspring. Push. Okay. Try not to squat in, Derek. Try to keep your... It is impossible to become a world-class gymnast without stressing the fundamentals, no matter how easy they may seem. Good. Okay. Thanks a lot, guys.
Well, now, as we watch Kurt do all of those moves in World Championship form, what's your reaction to the whole deal?
Well, it's interesting. Kurt told the kids earlier in the beginning of his gymnastic career he didn't work on perfecting the basic fundamentals, and as a result he had to relearn them later as he became more advanced, along with working on more flexibility, which just goes to show you how important stressing basics really is to a beginner.
Very few could overcome that early obstacle like Kurt did. That's the way it progresses then, from the very beginning to the world class of a Kurt Thomas, and now we're going to see the women at that very level in the final exercise, the floor exercise. We have a triple tie for the lead right now among Elena Naimushina of the Soviet Union, who just won the beam, remember, Maxi Ganauk of East Germany, and Stella Zakharova of the Soviet Union. And this is Elena Naimushina. Remember earlier, she had a big victory in the balanced beam. She's trying to make it 2 gold medals in a row now. This 15-year-old from a place called Krasnoyarsk, Siberia.
Well, I think you'll especially like watching her on the floor exercise. She really is expressive. Her ballet is terrific. She doesn't sacrifice dance for hard tumbling, in other words, as some of the other gymnasts do.
To move onto the mat, not in competition until she gets inside the line. There she is. And you don't want to step on the line and go outside it.
No, there's a deduction if you do.
Women, remember, these days perform to orchestrated music.
Whip over right to a double pike. A little bit low on that, but she pulled it out. She plays with the audience. She smiles a lot. Hand clapping music here.
Well, there's a little Kalinska. You see that many times with the Russians in figure skating. They use that for exhibition. Favorite Russian song.
You almost expect him to start dancing that Russian dance.
Yeah.
Flip over, double twist. Very seldom hear only drums. What's this? A little different. You know, Jim, one of the few gymnasts that smiles in a routine anymore.
That's right.
Not so serious. Once again, that reminds you of Olga Tartarisheva. And her last tumbling run. Let's see if she can get the endurance to really pull this one up. Double pike. Very nice. Happy with that routine.
Okay, Elena Naimushina. Turning them on in Toronto.
You know, Jim, her dance is the strongest part of her routine because of her personality and dance training. But she's not weak at all on her tumbling either. Watch this double twist. Legs slightly apart, but she gets good height and a terrific landing. On her last tumbling run, she keeps the endurance going, has all the strength that she could possibly use. She gets good height. Plays to the crowd. Now watch this double pike. Like I said, no lack of endurance. You get good height. At least, they have to go at least shoulder height. Otherwise, there's a deduction. Has to really pull it around in that pike position, but she lands it well once again.
Very appealing young Miss Naimushina of the Soviet Union. Could she be an Olga for 1984 Olympics?
Could be. Yeah.
Huh? Look at this, 9.80. That will give Maxi Ganauk and Stella Zakharova something to shoot at. Remember, the 3 of them tied coming to this final round. fifth place brings in a mark of 9.75. Remember, that was acquired in the all-around competition.
And her music just keeps going. Very strong, aggressive on her tumbling, and has fun with the dance. Here's a flip-flop double back.
Good start.
No problem.
In her first season of international competition.
You can see that her dance is not quite as polished as her tumbling. I think that'll come with maturity. If you remember her teammate Nadia Comaneci, when we first saw her, her tumbling was much stronger than her dance as well.
That's true, very true.
When you're young, you think about only the fun moves, the tricks.
Right.
Talking herself through that routine. No smiles, just concentration. Here's her last tumbling run.
3 and 4 and...
Right. Double twist. Nothing but springs in her legs.
Christina Grigoris, little teammate of the famous Nadia Comaneci, who we are told is not here because she's studying for an exam.
Looks as if it doesn't take any effort out of her at all, and I know it does. Round off flip-flop double twist. She springs very high in the air. Good position in the air. And a nice landing.
And the 14-year-old looks for the all-important mark. She'll be looking for a lot of those as the years go by. There it is, 9.70. And she'll be seeing even better ones, we suspect. We're at the World Cup of Gymnastics in Toronto. Now, Maxie Ganau, one of the co-leaders, one of the 3 co-leaders coming in. She'll be trying to catch and pass Naimushina, who's in the lead. A 9.85 would put her in first place. But to come after her still is Zakharova, also tied to the lead.
She opens up, Jim, with a full twisting double back. One of the most difficult sequences in the competition. Here it is. Well, you have to really get high on this to complete that double back, and she's happy about that. She's also showing a lot more showmanship than when we saw her in Fort Worth.
Thoroughly modern Maxie out there.
Triple twist, not twice around, but 3 times. She is going to be difficult to beat on this event. 1.5, Arabian to a double twist.
She has really won the crowd here in Toronto, too.
Certainly
Maxie Ganau of East Germany, age 16. She's a world champion in the uneven bars, won that title in Fort Worth in 1979. Have a look at that triple.
Well, it's almost difficult to see when she's moving so quickly, but maybe in slow motion you can see her go around 3 times. Tremendous bounce in those legs. 1, 2, and she'll complete the last one on the way down. Boy, I don't know how she knows when to come out.
Just a little difficulty on the landing, but here's the last tumbling run.
Here she does an Arabian. Have her first back handspring. Round off flip-flop to a double twist. Excellent.
And have a look at the mark, 9.9. She is the new leader. That's something for Zakharova to try to catch. Here we have Labakova from Czechoslovakia, Jana Labakova, another of the 14-year-olds here.
She may be little, but she's mighty on this event.
She brings in a 9.75, a tie for 5th place.
She opens up with 2 whip-overs into a double twist, a double pipe. There she goes, double twist, there she is. Those are splits. You can see that with her ankles taped like that pounding on the floor, those double twists, double backs, take an awful lot out of the ankles. Now flip up another double pipe. Beautiful. You see a lot more comedy in the routines now.
Yeah.
Little rest before her last tumbling run.
You could see she was puffing a little bit.
Right. With the difficulty they're now doing, they have to take little breaks in the routines where they can catch their breath.
So there is Jana Labakova.
It's difficult to get height out of these 2 whip-overs that you see here. She's so high off the ground. To spring up high again on the 3rd flip, it's just hard to do. But she does it very well.
And her mark, 9.70. Now, the last competitor with a chance to win the gold medal here, Stella Zakharova of the Soviet Union, came in a triple tie for the lead. She needs a 9-9 to tie now for the gold medal with Maxi Ganauk. Ganauk has already surpassed Naimushina.
She knows what she has to do. She's starting out with a full twisting double back.
Whoops,
Stepped out a little bit. It's going to cost her a 1/10 of a point.
which could be the 10th of a point that makes the difference.
That's right. She's very aggressive on this. A powerhouse. Every move that she does from now on, there can be no mistakes. Front flip, round off flip-flop, double twist.
No mistakes there.
Right.
Having lost a 10th of a point, assuming the judges saw what we saw.
However, Maxi Ganauk had a triple twist in her second tumbling pass. Had a little more difficulty than Zakharova. Okay, here's her last tumbling run. Let's see if she can pull this one up. Round off flip-flop, double pike, low on that. I don't think she'll be able to get that 9-9.
Okay, Stella Zakharova. All right, as she moves off the platform there, why don't we have another look at that point in her routine where she stepped out of bounds?
Is that round off flip-flop here? Okay, full twisting double back. You can see she's on her way down. She barely pulls it out when she steps out there. Just her direction was off.
Well, the mark is not yet in, and you never know what the judges are going to do in these affairs. So they're quite tired. There is the mark, 9.80. That is not good enough to catch Maxi Ganauk. So that 1/10 that it appears the judges deducted for the stepping over the line actually cost her a tie for the gold medal. There is the winner, Maxi Ganauk of East Germany. Her second gold medal of this competition. She won the uneven bars. silver medal in this event shared by Zakharova and Naimushina. We're going to have one more look at Stella Zakharova's routine here, or part of it, at the request of the judges, because the Soviet coach, Polina Ashtakova, a great gymnast herself back in 1960, has protested that she was not out of bounds in this move that's coming up. The judges had said she was, and that would make a difference of 1/10 of a point, a very big difference in the score. Well, it certainly looks like the heel is out.
It is clearly out, and if it is so, then it is a deduction.
The judges are watching right now, taking another look with us, and here comes their decision. They say heel is out, she is out, score stands 9.8. Well, we hear a lot of talk from time to time and some controversy about whether or not television replays can be helpful to officials in sport. Here we've seen an example where it really seemed to work on that out-of-bounds business. Right now we're going to meet a young lady who I think has become, well, let's talk to her about it. Maxie, I think you have made yourself a new superstar of gymnastics here by your performance and by your personality.
Maxi, Sie glauben, dass du jetzt ein neuer Superstar geworden bist im Turnen, nicht nur allein durch deine Leistung, sondern auch durch deine Persönlichkeit?
Ja, ich glaube, der Turnsport, da erwartet man schon hohe Leistungen. Und also die Turnspitze, die sind schon sehr, also die ist schon sehr zusammengedrängt. Und da muss man eben gute Leistung zeigen.
Well, she thinks that the world-class performances are very, very excellent, and because of that, there's a very, very close group of top gymnasts, and you have to be excellent in order to come out top.
One quick question. Do you intentionally try to make friends with the crowd while you perform?
Eine spezielle Frage, ob du bewusst mit dem Publikum anknüpfst, während du beim Bodenturnen übst, oder beim Bodenturnen turnst.
Ja, man versucht natürlich, also wenn man gute Akku reinspringt, dann in den gymnastischen Bewegungen auch an das Publikum ranzuspielen. Und das gelingt eben einem auch, wenn man eben mit dem Publikum mitgeht.
Well, obviously, when you're tumbling well, you are trying to connect with the viewing public when you're in your dance moves, and that does turn out successful if the public reacts as well.
It sure does. Doesn't hurt with the judges either. Congratulations to you, Maxie. She did know what the word superstar meant, because that seems to be the same around the world. Superstar Maxie Ganalk seems on her way.